I'm going to share with you 5 free sewing patterns that I wholeheartedly recommend, and then 5 more that, let's just say, I had some regrets. Hi, my name is Sarah, and welcome to my channel, which is all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. I saw a video recently by Teresa from Lost My Thread where she ranked all of the free sewing patterns that she tried, and I thought that this was a really valuable resource to share with the sewing community because it's one thing to recommend free patterns. I've made videos like that, but a lot of times it's just things you find on the internet and you haven't actually made them yourself. So I think it's always good to put information out there about the patterns that you have actually sewn yourself and you can vouch for them or tell people to stay away. So I'm just going to start by sharing the 5 most successful free patterns that I've tried. And the first one I've talked about many times on this channel, and I apologize if you're sick of it. It's the Closet Core Tee. It comes in sizes 0 to 20 and also 14 to 32. Now the reason I keep harping about this pattern all the time is because I do genuinely love it. I've sewn it 3 times now. The first 2 versions that I made were the short sleeve cropped view. And then in the fall, I also sewed a long sleeve version with the longer length, and I like all 3 versions. The thing that I appreciate so much about this particular t-shirt is the fit. I like that it is boxy, it is oversized, but it's not overwhelming. And as someone who has a little bit more of a smaller frame, I find that I can quickly get swallowed up in fabric if things are too big and bulky on me. So I like that this has a dropped shoulder, it's comfortable, but I'm not swimming in fabric. The only negative thing that I have to say about this pattern is one of the optional steps. The first time that I sewed the top, you have an option to add a binding that covers the back neck seam, and it's a nice touch visually. But when I tried it myself, I did end up breaking a couple of needles because my fabric was so thick. That might have been user error, but since I did that the first time around, I didn't bother putting that binding on my subsequent versions, and those turned out perfectly fine. So if you do want to add that step, I'd say just be a little bit careful if your fabric is on the thicker side. Otherwise, I really can't say anything else negative about this pattern. I think that it is wonderful. It comes in a good size range. And there's a million free t-shirt patterns out there. I'm actually going to talk about another one a little bit later. So this one may or may not be your taste. For me, it's an absolute winner. It's a TNT. It's something that I will go back to again and again. The second free pattern that I tried that I really liked was the Fabric Store Celine jumpsuit. This comes in sizes 0 to 30. I've only made it one time, and I made it a couple of years ago now, but of all of the jumpsuits that I've made, this one is my most worn, and it's probably my favorite. I used a really nice quality linen that has a pinstripe running through it. I really like the combination of fabric with this particular pattern. It has a wrap front and then an elasticized waist that brings it in, and then it has kind of a straight cropped leg. It's a really excellent piece to wear in the summertime. It's very cool and comfortable, but it looks really polished. I always get compliments when I wear this jumpsuit, and I wouldn't mind actually making it again. I think I just haven't because I've sort of moved on with life and there's so many different patterns out there to try. But I think that it's a good pattern and it's something that I might revisit again in the future. I will say that I think fabric choice is probably pretty important with this. You wouldn't want to use anything that's too thick and also not something too flimsy. I think that linen is a good choice. It has enough body to hold the shape. So just keep that in mind if you want to make this pattern. But otherwise, I think that it's a really good one. The third pattern that I have to share is the little pomegranate Sabina skirt. This one comes in sizes 6 to 34. And I made this for the Sew Frugal Challenge a couple of years ago. Which, by the way, I know that that's coming up again in March. I am not one of the official vloggers, basically because I forgot to sign up, but I know that you're going to be hearing a lot more about free patterns coming up really soon. So I've only made this one time, and I used an absolutely gorgeous drapey Cloud 9 rayon fabric. The thing that I love so much about this skirt is how swishy it is, how comfortable. It has an elasticized waist, it has pockets. It's very feminine, but it's not overly girly. It's really comfortable to wear most of the year. I could even wear it in the winter with tights. And in my opinion, if you pick a gorgeous fabric and just let that print do the talking, that's how this pattern is really going to shine. So if I made another version for myself, I would probably choose a print again, just because the design is so simple. My only regrets about the skirt that I made is that I don't think that I top stitched the elastic. I don't remember if the pattern tells you to do that or not, but I just like to do it so that it doesn't twist around. And I could always go back in and do that if I wanted to. So it is by no means anything against the pattern. I think that it's wonderful. It's super popular in the sewing community for a reason. So if you haven't given it a try, I would highly encourage you to do it if that's your style. Number 4 on my list is the 5 out of 4 patterns Ninja Pants. This one comes in sizes extra, extra small up to 5XL, and I've made it 4 times. I made 4 pairs of bike shorts to wear for working out. The pattern does come with a ton of different lengths from shorts all the way down to full-length pants. It has an optional gusset that I think is really important if you're using it for exercise so that you can have freedom of movement. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think there might be different rises, like high rise versus mid rise, but I might be wrong about that. I'm not entirely sure, but I will be putting all of the links down in the description box so you can go check out the details if you would like. Now, the thing that I really liked about this pattern is that it's so simple. I have other leggings patterns that I have tried since then that have more seaming details, and I think those are really fun too. But the fact that this is just such a simple, basic legging that you can make up really quickly, but it fits nicely, it has a lot of options, and it works, is what I think makes it such a good value, especially since it is a free pattern. So if you're looking to get into making leggings for yourself and you've never tried them before, I would highly recommend this pattern. I think it has good instructions, and I think that you'll be satisfied with the end result. The last free pattern that I've tried that I would highly recommend is the Styla Patterns Galena dress. This one comes in sizes 0 to 32, and I've made it 1 time. I used a bamboo jersey that's really fluid and beautiful, and my favorite thing about this dress is the sleeve. I think it is one of the nicest, most graceful, flowy bishop sleeves that I've ever made. It's not gathered at the top, it's just a normal top of the sleeve cap, and then it flows outward into this really big drapey sleeve that goes into a tight-fitting cuff. And I just think that the overall look is very feminine and very, very nice. And for where I live, it's a dress that I could wear all 4 seasons of the year. It comes with a scoop neckline, and I think there's an option to add a faux button placket if that's what you like. I think there's different skirt lengths, I can't quite remember, but I know that I made mine above the knee. The only reason that I've sewn it just the 1 time is because I just don't wear dresses a lot, so I don't need to be making the same dress over and over again. It's pretty rare that I would revisit a dress pattern after I've already used it, although I did take that sleeve because I liked it so much and I put it on another dress, and if I can find a picture of that, I'll put it in here. And I would even think about adapting that sleeve to a long sleeve top as well because I just really, really like it. It also comes in a really nice broad size range, and so if you were interested in trying it out, I think it's a really good one. Now getting to the 5 free patterns that I would not sew again. And a quick caveat, I'm not saying that any of these are bad patterns. They just didn't work for me for one reason or another, and I'll explain why as we go. So the first pattern is another t-shirt pattern. It's the French Navy Stellan tee, and it comes in sizes A to N. I made this pattern out of a cotton spandex jersey, and I just made the 1 version. Now there's a few reasons why this pattern didn't quite work for me. First of all, it's possible that I chose the wrong size. I remember at the time that I sized down from my actual body measurements, and I think maybe because of that, I do have some weird drag lines kind of around the armpit. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe if I had just stuck to my measured size that it would have worked out better as far as fit, but I don't really know because I only made the 1 version. The other things about this pattern that I didn't really like are design elements that just weren't my taste. So the pattern has short sleeves, but they're a little bit longer and they're meant to be rolled up and cuffed, but I don't like to wear my t-shirts that way, and I prefer my short sleeves to be a little bit shorter. So I just didn't really like the sleeve shape. I didn't like the length. It wasn't something that I really gravitated towards. And then the final thing that I didn't really care for was the curved hem. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a curved hem. I think I just prefer a little bit more of a cropped straight across hem. So because of all of those things, and because I have found other t-shirt patterns that I like even better, I just haven't felt the need to go back and make this one again. I know that so many people in the sewing community love this pattern. It just didn't quite match up with my personal style. The second free pattern that I regret is the Paradise Patterns Blama Tank. It comes in sizes A to L, and I believe it also comes in cup sizes. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with this pattern. Basically, I just don't like the thickness of the bands. I've made other tank tops that are similar in style that have a little bit thinner bands, and I just prefer that. If I remember correctly, this one has really thick bands that you have to sew on your sewing machine, and I just prefer to do knits completely on my serger if that is an option. So I just didn't really enjoy making this particular tank top, and I don't like the look of those thicker bands. So I just haven't gone back to that pattern. I do wear the one version that I made out of a bamboo rib knit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just found other patterns that I liked a little bit better. Number 3 on the list of patterns that I regret is the Vicky So's Milana dress. This pattern comes in sizes 34 to 52. And for my dress, I made it for my birthday, so it was kind of for an occasion. My husband and I were doing a little weekend getaway trip, and I wore the dress that one time, and then I've never worn it again. Technically, it is still in my wardrobe, but I'm thinking when I do my wardrobe switch over for when the weather warms up, I'm probably gonna get rid of that one. So there's a few things about this dress, sort of a combination of factors that made it a regret. The first is the color. I used a linen rayon blend fabric, and I distinctly remember when I was shopping for fabric that I wanted a certain color that happened to be out of stock everywhere that I looked for it. So I ended up kind of settling for this fiery orange color. At the time, I was in this phase that I was trying to expand the colors that I wear and try new things. So I bought this reddish orange, but the fact of the matter is that I don't like orange. I've never liked orange. I don't really know what I was thinking. I'm just not an orange kind of gal. So I definitely regret choosing that color. I wish I would have chosen pretty much anything else. I don't think that it looks bad on me or anything. It's just not a color that I gravitate towards. The next thing that made this kind of a fail for me is that it's a very particular style. It's not the kind of dress that I could wear to work. It's not the kind of dress that I'm gonna wear lounging around the house. It really is kind of a special occasion dress, which is what I made it for. So I don't regret doing it in the sense that it worked for that particular occasion, but it's just not something that I'm gonna reach for ever again. So maybe I would have been better off making a dress that was a little bit less special, but a little bit more practical for my everyday life. And then my third dislike about this dress is actually about the pattern itself. So this pattern has a very thin elastic waist, and there's no closure, there's no zipper to get in and out of it. And I have a pretty rectangular figure, so I don't normally have issues getting in and out of things, but this dress is a struggle to get it on and off. In my opinion, it really would have benefited from adding a side zip. And definitely if you have a curvier figure, I think that it would be an absolute must that you need to add in that side zip. Otherwise, I think you're gonna really struggle to get in and out of it. As I said, because I'm pretty straight up and down, I can shimmy in and out of it, but it's not super easy. But having said all that, I do think that it is an excellent pattern. The pieces are drafted really well, they all fit together, the dress is fully lined. I would not recommend this pattern to an absolute beginner. I think that you would need some more experience, because all of the flounces are cut on the bias, it is fully lined. There's a lot of really detailed instructions with finishing. So I don't think that if you're brand new to sewing that you should make this dress right away, but if you like the style, if it fits your lifestyle, I do think that it's a beautiful design, but maybe really consider putting in a side zip. My next free pattern regret is the pattern for Pirates pencil skirt. It comes in sizes extra, extra small up to 3XL. Now this skirt I made last year for the Sew Frugal Challenge, and at the time I was trying to adhere to my Kibbe body typing. I had just gotten my body typing and my colors done, and I was trying really hard for a while to stay within the parameters of what was recommended for my body type. But having gone through that and lived my life, I've learned that there are certain silhouettes that are recommended for my body type that I just don't like. And knee-length pencil skirts are one of them. Or really just knee-length skirts in general. I just don't think they look particularly good on me because my legs are so short. And this skirt was not very comfortable because it was extremely tight-fitting. I might have used the wrong fabric. I think perhaps I should have chosen a fabric that has a little bit more stretch to it. Because when I made the skirt, I put it on, if I walked around for 5 minutes, it would ride up. And it looked really bad and it was very uncomfortable, and so I never actually wore it. I made it for the challenge and then didn't wear it at all. So that one was a really huge fail, but I do think that that was on me. It wasn't about the pattern. And that's why I'm a little bit undecided actually if I'm gonna participate in Sew Frugal myself this year, because I need to think really carefully and really hard about whether I'm choosing a pattern and a fabric that actually works for my wardrobe and my lifestyle, and not just rushing to do something to be part of a challenge. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that, because I do like to be part of the sewing community and do what everyone else is doing, but I also need to be careful and make sure that it's actually working for me. I would love to hear your thoughts on how you reconcile those two things. So number 5 on the free patterns that I regret is the Tessuti Mandy Boat Tee. This comes in sizes extra, extra small up to 3XL. So first of all, let me just say that I made this top back in 2018 and it's still in my closet and I still wear it. But the main reason that I still have it is because of the fabric. I really, really love the stripy fabric that I found. So I keep it around and I wear it occasionally because I just really love that striped fabric so much. But the t-shirt itself is not one that I've ever gravitated towards again. I did make it back in the day when I think there was only one size. It didn't come in multi-sizes. So I can't say for sure that the pattern hasn't changed since then and maybe the fit is better. But for me, the main things that I didn't like about it is how wide and boxy the body is, but the sleeves are really super tight. And that's just a style preference thing. I think that maybe back in 2018 when I originally made it, that style was a little bit more popular. It's just not one that I really gravitate towards. And for a t-shirt, it kind of is difficult for me to style. It only looks good with certain types of bottoms. I can't just throw it on and wear it with anything and have it look good just because it is so boxy. So for that reason, I haven't ever wanted to make the t-shirt again. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It just doesn't quite mesh with my personal style. So those are some of the free patterns that I have made and loved, and also some that I didn't quite love as much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.